The school auditorium buzzed with whispers, a sea of parents clutching programs, their eyes darting toward Elena Marquez. She stood frozen at the back, her heart pounding like a war drum as her ex-husband's voice echoed through the microphone. "My son deserves a mother who's honest about who she is," he said, his words slicing through the air, exposing her truth to a room full of strangers. Elena, 32, a graphic designer with a quiet strength, had spent years building a life in Seattle for her and her 10-year-old son, Lucas. She'd kept her sexuality private, not out of shame but to protect Lucas from the small-minded judgments of their suburban community. Her ex-husband, Greg, had other plans. 2 years after their divorce, Greg had weaponized her secret, outing her as a lesbian during a PTA meeting at Lucas's school. The betrayal stung worse than the divorce itself. Elena's world tilted. Parents stared, some with pity, others with disdain. Lucas, sitting in the front row, looked back at her, his eyes wide with confusion. She wanted to run to him, to shield him, but her legs felt like stone. That night, Elena sat in her apartment, the city skyline glittering through the window, a cruel contrast to the chaos within her. Lucas was with Greg for the weekend, leaving her alone with her thoughts. She poured a glass of wine, her hands trembling, and replayed the moment Greg's words had stripped her bare. She wasn't ashamed of loving women. She'd known it since college, but she'd chosen silence to keep peace for Lucas. Now that peace was shattered. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Meet me at the Brood Awakening tomorrow, 7 p.m. I can help. S." Elena frowned. The Brood Awakening was a quirky coffee shop in Capitol Hill, a haven for Seattle's queer community. She hesitated, her thumb hovering over the delete button, but something stopped her. Maybe it was desperation, or maybe it was the flicker of hope that someone, anyone, understood. The next evening, Elena stepped into the coffee shop, the scent of roasted beans and warm pastries wrapping around her like a hug. The place was alive with laughter and soft music, fairy lights strung across the ceiling. She scanned the room and spotted a woman at a corner table, sketching in a leather-bound notebook. The woman looked up, her dark eyes locking onto Elena's with a quiet intensity. "I'm Sasha," she said, standing. Sasha Coleman, 34, was a black woman with a presence that filled the space. Confident, warm, and unapologetically herself. Her short curls framed a face that held both strength and softness, and her smile made Elena's chest ache in a way she hadn't felt in years. "I heard what happened at the school. I'm here to help." Elena's guard went up. "How do you know about that? And why do you care?" Sasha slid a business card across the table. "Sasha Coleman, attorney at law. I specialize in family law and LGBTQ rights. A friend at the PTA meeting told me what Greg did. It's not just wrong, it's actionable." Elena's breath caught. Actionable? She'd spent the last 24 hours drowning in shame and fear, but Sasha's words sparked something new. Possibility. "What can you do? He's already humiliated me. Lucas is caught in the middle." Sasha leaned forward, her voice steady but kind. "He violated your privacy and defamed you publicly. We can sue for emotional distress and defamation. But more than that, I want to help you take back your story, for you and Lucas." Elena studied Sasha's face, searching for a catch. There was none, just sincerity and maybe something else, a flicker of connection that felt dangerous and exhilarating. "Why are you doing this?" Elena asked softly. Sasha's smile faltered, just for a moment. "Because I've been where you are. I came out at 20, lost half my family. I know what it's like to have your truth used against you." The conversation stretched late into the night. Sasha shared her plan. A lawsuit against Greg, not just for money but to set a precedent, to show Lucas and others that no one gets to shame someone for who they love. Elena shared her fears, losing Lucas, losing her job, losing herself. By the time they parted, Elena felt lighter, like she could breathe again. As she walked home under Seattle's starry sky, Elena realized something else. Sasha's laugh, her passion, her unwavering belief in justice. It stirred something in her. something she hadn't let herself feel since college, when she'd first kissed a girl under a willow tree and felt the world shift. The next morning, Elena woke to a knock at her door. A courier handed her an envelope, her name scrawled in elegant cursive. Inside was a letter, and signed, with a single line, "You're not alone. $250,000 is waiting to fund your fight." Her heart raced. Who was this? Sasha? Someone else? The money was a lifeline, but the mystery behind it was a puzzle she couldn't ignore. Elena called Sasha immediately. "Did you send me this?" she asked, her voice shaking. Sasha's pause was long enough to make Elena's pulse spike. "No," she said finally. "But whoever did, they want you to win. So let's make sure you do." The fight was just beginning, and Elena was no longer alone. Elena sat at her kitchen table, the mysterious letter in her hands, its edges already worn from her nervous fingers. The $250,000 promise felt like a lifeline, but the anonymity gnawed at her. Who would send such a sum and why? Sasha arrived an hour later, her presence grounding Elena's spiraling thoughts. They spread the letter and its implications across the table like a battle map. "This could cover legal fees, expert witnesses, everything," Sasha said, her eyes alight with strategy. "But we need to know who sent it. Anonymous funds raise red flags in court." Elena nodded, her mind racing. Could it be a trap? Greg's got money from his tech job. What if he's trying to sabotage me? Sasha's brow furrowed. Possible, but unlikely. This feels personal, like someone who knows your story. She tapped her pen against her notebook. "Let's focus on the case first. We'll dig into the letter's source later." Over the next week, Elena and Sasha built their case. They met daily at the Brood Awakening, their table a fortress of coffee cups and legal pads. Sasha was relentless, outlining how Greg's public outing violated Washington state privacy laws and caused emotional distress. Elena marveled at her precision, but it was Sasha's warmth, her hand brushing Elena's as she passed a document, her laugh when Elena cracked a nervous joke that made the hours bearable. Lucas returned from Greg's on Sunday, his backpack slung low. "Mom, why didn't you tell me?" he asked, his voice small. Elena's heart cracked. She knelt before him, explaining she'd wanted to protect him, that her love for women didn't change her love for him. Lucas hugged her, but his silence lingered, a reminder of the work ahead. Sasha suggested Elena attend a local LGBTQ support group to find community and strength. Reluctantly, Elena went. The room was filled with stories, some triumphant, others raw with pain. A trans woman shared how her family rejected her. A non-binary teen spoke of finding chosen family. Elena felt a knot loosen in her chest. She wasn't alone. Back at the coffee shop, Sasha noticed the change. "You're glowing," she said, her voice soft. Elena blushed, caught off guard by the warmth in Sasha's gaze. "It's just I haven't felt like I belong anywhere in a long time," Elena admitted. Sasha reached across the table, her fingers grazing Elena's. "You belong. Right here, right now." The air between them thickened, charged with unspoken possibility. Elena pulled back, her wedding ring, a relic she still wore, feeling heavy on her finger. The case gained traction. Sasha filed a lawsuit against Greg for defamation and emotional distress, demanding $500,000 in damages. The anonymous $250,000, deposited into a trust Sasha set up, covered their initial costs. But whispers spread in the community. Some parents rallied behind Elena, others sided with Greg, claiming he was protecting Lucas. One evening, Elena found a note slipped under her door. "Stop this, or Lucas pays the price." Her blood ran cold. She called Sasha, who arrived within minutes, her calm demeanor a lifeline. "This is intimidation," Sasha said, examining the note. "We'll get it analyzed for fingerprints." Greg's getting desperate. But Elena wasn't so sure it was Greg. The note's tone felt different, sharper, like someone else was watching. She thought of the $250,000 letter. Could the same person be behind both? As they worked late into the night, Sasha shared more of her past. Her conservative upbringing in Atlanta, her fight to become a lawyer, her first love who broke her heart. Elena listened, captivated, feeling the walls she'd built around her heart begin to crack. By week's end, Sasha uncovered a lead on the letter. The trust was linked to a local philanthropist, Clara Nguyen, a wealthy tech heiress known for funding LGBTQ causes. Elena's hope surged, but so did her fear. Clara was a stranger. Why her? And why now? As Elena and Sasha prepared to confront Clara, a text from Greg arrived. Drop the lawsuit, or I'll take Lucas for good. The stakes were higher than ever, and Elena felt the weight of her choices pressing down. But with Sasha by her side, she wasn't backing down. Greg's text burned into Elena's mind. Drop the lawsuit, or I'll take Lucas for good. She stared at her phone, her hands shaking, as Sasha paced the living room. He's bluffing, Sasha said, her voice firm but laced with concern. He can't just take Lucas. Custody agreements don't work that way. Elena wanted to believe her, but Greg's wealth and connections made him a formidable opponent. He'd always been charming in public, the kind of man who could sway a judge or a PDA board. She felt small, exposed, like the auditorium moment all over again. Sasha knelt beside her, her hand steady on Elena's knee. We're stronger than he is. You're stronger. Lucas needs you to fight. Elena met her gaze, drawing courage from the fire in Sasha's eyes. For the first time, she noticed the faint scar above Sasha's eyebrow, a story untold. She wanted to ask but didn't. Not yet. Their next move was to meet Clara Nguyen. Sasha arranged a meeting at Clara's waterfront estate in Medina, a world away from Elena's modest apartment. Clara, 45, was a Vietnamese-American woman with a quiet elegance, her home filled with art and light. She greeted them warmly, but her eyes held a guarded depth. I sent the money, Clara confirmed, pouring tea. I heard about your case through a friend at the school. No one should be shamed for who they are. Elena's relief was tempered by suspicion. Why anonymously? And why me? Clara's smile was wistful. I came out late after a marriage like you. I lost my daughter's trust for years. Your story hit close to home. She paused, her voice softening. The money's clean, no strings. Use it to fight. Sasha pressed for details, ensuring the funds were legally sound. Clara provided documents, her transparency disarming Elena's doubts. But as they left, Clara touched Elena's arm. Be careful. People like Greg don't play fair. Back in Seattle, the note's threat loomed. Sasha hired a private investigator to trace its origin, but results would take days. Meanwhile, Elena focused on Lucas. She took him to Pike Place Market, hoping normalcy would ease his confusion. They tossed fish with vendors, laughed over clam chowder, but Lucas's questions lingered. Is Dad mad because you like girls? He asked, his voice barely audible. Elena's heart ached. She explained love as best she could, emphasizing that her feelings for him were unshakable. Lucas nodded, but his quietness worried her. She needed to win this fight, not just for herself, but for him. The lawsuit gained media attention, splitting the community. Local news ran stories, some framing Elena as a hero, others as a reckless mother. Social media buzzed, with justice for Elena trending alongside hateful comments. Sasha shielded Elena from the worst, but the pressure was relentless. One night, Elena broke down, sobbing in her kitchen. Sasha was there, holding her, whispering, "You're not alone in this." Their faces were close, too close, and for a moment, Elena thought Sasha might kiss her. Instead, Sasha pulled back, her expression unreadable. "We'll get through this," she said, leaving Elena to wonder what else she'd meant. The investigator called the next day. The threatening note's paper matched stationery from Greg's office. It was a lead, but not enough for court. Sasha pushed forward, filing for a restraining order to keep Greg at a distance. Elena felt a spark of hope, but it flickered when she saw Greg at Lucas's soccer game, his smile cold and calculated. As they prepared for the first court hearing, Elena found another note in her mailbox. "You can't hide forever." This one wasn't Greg's stationery. Her stomach dropped. Someone else was watching, someone who knew her every move. She showed Sasha, whose jaw tightened. "We're not just fighting Greg anymore," Sasha said. "This is bigger." Elena clutched the $250,000 letter, its promise now a double-edged sword. Who was behind the notes? And what did they want? The second note, "You can't hide forever," sat like a stone in Elena's gut. She and Sasha pored over it at the coffee shop, the cozy ambience a stark contrast to their growing unease. The handwriting didn't match Greg's, and the paper was generic, untraceable. "Someone's trying to scare you into dropping the case," Sasha said, her voice low. "But we're not backing down." Elena admired Sasha's fire, but fear gnawed at her. Whoever was behind the notes knew where she lived. She glanced at Lucas's photo on her phone, her resolve hardening. She'd fight for him no matter the cost. The first court hearing loomed, set for a gray Seattle morning. Sasha prepped Elena relentlessly, coaching her on how to present her story. Calm, honest, unapologetic. "The judge needs to see you, not just the case," Sasha said. Her hand lingered on Elena's shoulder, a touch that sent warmth through her. Elena pushed the feeling down. She couldn't afford distractions. In court, Greg sat across the room, his suit crisp, his demeanor smug. His lawyer argued that Greg's outburst was a moment of passion to protect Lucas, not malice. Elena's stomach churned as the lies piled up. Sasha countered fiercely, presenting evidence of Greg's calculated betrayal. Text messages where he'd planned to expose Elena for leverage in their custody dispute. The judge, a stern woman in her 50s, listened intently. Elena took the stand, her voice steady despite her racing heart. She spoke of the humiliation, the fear for Lucas, the violation of her privacy. Sasha's proud nod from the counsel table gave her strength. The hearing ended with no ruling, but Sasha was optimistic. "We've got a strong case," she whispered as they left. Outside, reporters swarmed. Elena froze, but Sasha guided her through, her hand firm on Elena's back. A woman in the crowd shouted, "You're an inspiration," and Elena's eyes stung with tears. Maybe she wasn't as alone as she'd thought. That night, Elena invited Sasha over for dinner, a thank you for her relentless support. They cooked pasta in Elena's tiny kitchen, laughing as sauce splattered. The air felt lighter, domestic, until Sasha's phone buzzed with a call from the investigator. The note's fingerprints were inconclusive, but a new lead pointed to a local activist group, Unity Rising, known for aggressive tactics against controversial figures. "Could they be targeting me?" Elena asked, her voice tight. Sasha frowned. "Maybe. They've protested high-profile LGBTQ cases before. But why you?" The question hung unanswered. Elena poured more wine, her thoughts drifting to Sasha's scar, her laugh, the way she made Elena feel seen. As they sat on the couch, their knees brushing, Elena's heart raced. "Sasha, why do you care so much?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sasha's eyes softened. "Because you're fighting for more than yourself." And because she hesitated, then leaned closer. "Because I see you, Elena. All of you." The moment stretched electric. Elena leaned in, their lips inches apart, but a loud knock at the door shattered it. Heart pounding, Elena opened it to find another note. "Drop the case, or Lucas gets hurt." Sasha grabbed the note, her face grim. "This ends now. We're going to the police." As they drove to the station, Elena's mind spun. The notes, the money, Greg's threats, it was all connected, but how? And why did her heart keep pulling her towards Sasha, even as danger closed in? The police station was cold, fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows as Elena handed over the latest note. "Drop the case, or Lucas gets hurt." Sasha stood beside her, her presence a steady anchor. The officer took the note, promising to investigate, but his skeptical tone made Elena's stomach twist. "We'll look into it, but these things are hard to trace," he said. Back in the car, Sasha slammed her palm against the steering wheel. "They're not taking this seriously enough. We need to protect Lucas." Elena's voice broke. "How? I can't lose him, Sasha." Sasha reached for her hand, her grip firm. You won't. I'll hire private security for Lucas's school and your apartment. The $250,000 covers it. Elena nodded, grateful but overwhelmed. The anonymous money felt like both a blessing and a curse, its source still a mystery. Claire and Gwyn had denied any involvement in the notes, but Elena couldn't shake the feeling that everything was connected. Greg, the notes, the money, maybe even Unity Rising. The next day, Sasha arranged for a security guard to shadow Lucas discreetly. Elena took him to school, her heart aching as he hugged her goodbye, unaware of the danger. She spent the day designing a logo for a client, but her mind was elsewhere, replaying Sasha's almost confession the night before. I see you, Elena. All of you. That evening, they met at the Brood Awakening to strategize. Sasha had dug deeper into Unity Rising, uncovering posts on X about their protests against morally ambiguous figures. One post mentioned Elena by name, calling her lawsuit a distraction from family values. The hate stung, but Sasha's hand on hers softened the blow. We need to confront Unity Rising, Sasha said. I've got a contact who knows their leader, Marcus Tate. He's intense but not violent. Maybe he'll talk. Elena hesitated. What if it's not them? What if it's someone closer? Sasha's eyes narrowed. Like who? Elena didn't want to say it, but the thought had crept in. Clara. Her generosity was too perfect, too timed. I don't know. Elena lied, her heart heavy. They met Marcus at a community center in Tacoma. He was a wiry man in his 40s, his passion for traditional values palpable. He denied the notes, claiming Unity Rising's protests were peaceful. We don't threaten kids, he said, his tone defensive. Sasha pressed, but Marcus shut down, leaving them with more questions than answers. Back in Seattle, Elena's fears grew. She checked on Lucas constantly, her anxiety spiking with every unanswered call. Sasha stayed over, sleeping on the couch, her presence a quiet comfort. One night, as they shared a bottle of wine, Elena asked about the scar above Sasha's eyebrow. Sasha touched it, her voice soft. My brother, after I came out, he threw a bottle, said I was a disgrace. Elena's heart broke. She reached for Sasha's hand, their fingers intertwining. You're not a disgrace. You're incredible. The air crackled. This time, neither pulled back. Their lips met, soft and tentative, then fierce with years of unspoken longing. When they parted, Elena's cheeks were wet with tears. I'm scared, she whispered. Of this, of everything. Sasha cupped her face. I'm here. We'll face it together. The next morning, a new letter arrived, this one with a photo of Lucas at school. The message was simple. Last warning. Elena's scream brought Sasha running, and together, they vowed to end this, whatever it took. The photo of Lucas, snapped from a distance at his school playground, turned Elena's blood to ice. The note, last warning, was a blade held to her heart. She clutched the paper, her vision blurring. As Sasha called the police and the private investigator, her voice sharp with urgency. We're moving Lucas to a safe location, Sasha said, her lawyer's calm barely masking her fear. My cousin has a cabin in Olympia. No one will find him there. Elena nodded, numb. She packed Lucas's bag, explaining he was going on a special adventure with Sasha's cousin, a kind woman named Tara. Lucas sensed her fear but didn't ask questions, his trust in her breaking her heart further. Tara arrived, whisking Lucas away, and Elena felt like she was losing him all over again. Sasha stayed close, coordinating with the investigator. They traced the photo's metadata to a burner phone, a dead end. But a new clue emerged. The paper matched stationery sold at a high-end store in Bellevue, one Greg frequented for his office supplies. It's not enough to pin on him, Sasha said. But it's something. Elena's suspicion shifted back to Claire and Gwyn. The $250,000, the notes, the timing. It all circled her. What if Clara's playing both sides? Elena asked. Helping us to look good, but sending threats to control me? Sasha frowned. It's possible. Let's confront her again. They drove to Clara's estate, the tension between them palpable. Their kiss the night before lingered, unspoken but heavy. Clara welcomed them, her calm demeanor unshaken. "I swear, I'm not behind the threats," she said, her eyes steady. "But I know who might be." Clara revealed she'd overheard Greg talking to a private investigator at a charity gala. Someone with a reputation for dirty tactics. "His name's Victor Hale," Clara said. "He's not above intimidation." Sasha's jaw tightened. "We need proof. Can you get us close to him?" Clara nodded. "He'll be at my fundraiser tomorrow. Come as my guests." The fundraiser was a glittering affair at a downtown hotel, a stark contrast to Elena's spiraling fear. She wore a borrowed dress, feeling out of place among Seattle's elite. Sasha, in a tailored suit, looked effortlessly confident, her hand brushing Elena's for courage. They spotted Victor, a stocky man with a cold smile, talking to Greg in a corner. Sasha approached, casual but calculated, engaging Victor in small talk while Elena watched Greg. His eyes met hers, and for a moment she saw fear. Was he behind the notes, or was he caught in something bigger? Victor excused himself, and Sasha slipped Elena a napkin with his phone number, lifted from his business card. "We'll trace his calls," she whispered. That night, back at Elena's apartment, the investigator confirmed Victor's burner phone had sent the photo, but the trail stopped there, no direct link to Greg. Elena's frustration boiled over. Why is this happening? What do they want? Sasha pulled her close. "They want you to give up, but you won't." Their second kiss was desperate, a release of fear and longing. Elena let herself fall into it, her walls crumbling. But as they lay together, a new text buzzed on Sasha's phone. "You're next, lawyer." Elena's heart stopped. The fight wasn't just hers anymore. It was theirs. The text, "You're next, lawyer," sent a chill through Elena's apartment. Sasha's face hardened, but her hand found Elena's, grounding them both. "They're scared," Sasha said. "We're getting close." The police took the new threat seriously, assigning protection to Sasha. Elena felt guilt twist in her chest. Her fight had pulled Sasha into danger. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice cracking. Sasha shook her head. "This isn't your fault. We're in this together." Her words were a vow, and Elena clung to them. The investigator dug into Victor Hale's connections. He was a hired gun, often working for wealthy clients to solve problems. His link to Greg was circumstantial but strong. Phone records showed calls between them days before the notes began. Sasha filed a motion to subpoena Victor's financials, hoping to trace payments to Greg. Meanwhile, Elena and Sasha prepared for the next court hearing. The $250,000 trust kept their case afloat, funding experts who testified to the emotional toll of Greg's actions. Elena's therapist spoke of her anxiety. Lucas's counselor described his confusion and fear. The courtroom felt like a battlefield, with Sasha wielding evidence like a sword. Greg's lawyer fought back, painting Elena as unstable, using her sexuality to question her fitness as a mother. The attacks cut deep, but Sasha's steady presence kept Elena upright. During a recess, Sasha whispered, "You're stronger than they know." Outside court, the media frenzy grew. Supporters rallied with signs reading "Love is Love," while Unity Rising protested, their chants echoing across the street. Elena felt exposed, but a small crowd of parents from Lucas's school approached, offering hugs and words of support. "We're with you," one said. Elena's eyes welled up. She hadn't realized how much she needed that. Clara invited them to her office to discuss Victor. She'd found an email from him to an unknown client, hinting at disrupting Elena's case. "It's not Greg," Clara said. "The client's initials are RT." Elena's mind raced. "Marcus Tate? From Unity Rising." Sasha nodded. "It fits. He's got motive. His group's been targeting you online." They confronted Marcus at his office, a cramped space filled with pamphlets. He denied everything, but his nervous glances betrayed him. Sasha pressed, her voice like steel. "We have Victor's email. Cooperate or you're an accessory." Marcus cracked, admitting he'd hired Victor to send a message to Elena, hoping to scare her into dropping the lawsuit. It wasn't personal, he said, his voice weak. We just wanted to protect family values. Elena's anger flared. My son is my family. You threatened him. Marcus shrank, but Sasha wasn't done. You're testifying against Victor. And if Greg's involved, you name him. Back home, Elena and Sasha celebrated the breakthrough, their relief tinged with exhaustion. As they sat on the couch, Sasha's fingers traced Elena's palm. We're close to ending this, she said. Elena leaned into her, their lips meeting softly. I don't know what I'd do without you, she murmured. But the next morning, a new shock arrived. Greg filed for full custody, claiming Elena's unstable lifestyle endangered Lucas. The move was desperate, cruel, and perfectly timed. Elena's world tilted again, but Sasha's voice cut through the panic. He's not taking Lucas. I promise. Greg's custody filing hit Elena like a tidal wave. She sat in Sasha's office, the legal documents a blur through her tears. He can't take Lucas, she whispered, her voice raw. He's all I have. Sasha knelt before her, her eyes fierce. He won't. We'll bury him in court. Her confidence was a lifeline, but Elena saw the strain in her face. The threats, the long hours, the weight of their fight. The investigator confirmed Marcus's testimony. Victor Hale had been hired by Unity Rising, but Greg's calls to Victor suggested he knew about the threats. Sasha subpoenaed Greg's bank records, hoping to find payments to Victor. The $250,000 trust kept their case strong, but Elena still wondered about Clara's role. Was she truly an ally or something more? Lucas returned from Olympia, his smile easing Elena's fear. She took him to the Space Needle, a rare treat, and they talked about everything but the case. I want to live with you, Mom, he said, his voice firm. Elena hugged him, vowing to make it true. The custody hearing was set for 2 weeks later, overlapping with the defamation case. Sasha worked tirelessly, her apartment now a war room of files and coffee cups. Elena helped where she could, their late nights blurring into moments of vulnerability. One evening, as rain battered the windows, Sasha shared her fear of failing Elena. I've lost cases before, she admitted, but I can't lose this one. Elena cupped her face. You won't. You've already given me back my life. Their kiss was slow, deep, a promise of more than just partnership. The investigator called with a breakthrough, a $10,000 transfer from Greg to Victor, dated days before the first note. It was the link they needed. Sasha filed an emergency motion to present the evidence, accusing Greg of orchestrating the threats. The judge agreed to hear it, setting the stage for an explosive courtroom showdown. At the hearing, Greg took the stand, his charm faltering under Sasha's cross-examination. She presented the bank records, Victor's emails, and Marcus's testimony. Greg denied everything, but his nervous glances betrayed him. The judge's expression darkened, and Elena felt a flicker of hope. Outside, supporters outnumbered protesters, their signs a rainbow of solidarity. Elena spotted Clara in the crowd, her smile warm but enigmatic. Was she just a benefactor, or did she know more? That night, Elena and Sasha celebrated quietly, their hands intertwined. But a new letter arrived, slipped under Sasha's door. You think you've won? Watch your back. The threat was personal now, aimed at both of them. Sasha called the police, but Elena's fear morphed into resolve. We're ending this, she said, her voice steady. For Lucas. For us. Sasha nodded, her eyes burning with determination. Let's finish it. As they prepared for the final hearing, Elena felt the weight of their journey. The pain, the love, the fight for truth. She didn't know what the letter meant, but she knew one thing. With Sasha by her side, she was unstoppable. The latest threat, you think you've won? Watch your back, hung over Elena and Sasha like a storm cloud. They tightened security, with guards at Elena's apartment and Sasha's office. The police traced the letter to the same Bellevue stationery. But no prints, no leads. Elena's fear battled her resolve. She wouldn't let fear win. The final hearing loomed, a dual battle for defamation and custody. Sasha prepared meticulously, her confidence unshaken despite the threats. Elena marveled at her. This woman who'd become her rock, her heart. Their late-night talks had deepened, their connection undeniable. After this, Sasha said one night, her voice soft, we figure out us. Elena's heart soared, but fear lingered. What if they didn't get an after? In court, Sasha dismantled Greg's defense. She presented the $10,000 transfer, Victor's emails, and Marcus's testimony, painting Greg as the mastermind behind the threats. Greg's lawyer scrambled, but the evidence was damning. Elena took the stand, her voice clear as she spoke of her love for Lucas, her pain from Greg's betrayal, her pride in who she was. The courtroom was silent, her words a beacon. The judge recessed, promising a ruling soon. Outside, supporters cheered, their signs a sea of color. Clara approached, her eyes warm. You're changing lives, she said. Elena wanted to trust her, but the anonymous money still nagged at her. That night, Elena and Sasha cooked dinner for Lucas, a rare moment of normalcy. He laughed, unaware of the stakes, and Elena felt hope bloom. She and Sasha stole glances, their hands brushing as they washed dishes. The domesticity felt like a promise of a future they could have. The investigator called with a bombshell. Victor had flipped, admitting Greg paid him to send the notes to break Elena. But Victor hinted at another player, someone who'd pushed Greg to escalate. They wanted her silenced, Victor said, refusing to name them. Sasha's eyes narrowed. Clara? Elena shook her head. She's helped us too much. But who else? They dug into Clara's past, finding ties to a shadowy advocacy group, Equal Horizons, known for funding both sides of contentious cases to control narratives. Was Clara playing a bigger game? They confronted her at her estate, her calm demeanor cracking under Sasha's questions. I'm not your enemy, Clara said. Equal Horizons approached me, yes, but I refused their offer. The $250,000 was my money, my choice. Elena wanted to believe her, but doubt lingered. As they left, Clara's parting words chilled her. Be careful, they're still watching. The judge's ruling came the next day. Greg was found liable for defamation and emotional distress, ordered to pay $400,000. The custody filing was dismissed. Lucas would stay with Elena. Relief flooded her, but the victory felt incomplete. Who was they? That night, Elena and Sasha celebrated with Lucas, their laughter filling the apartment. But as Lucas slept, a final letter arrived. This isn't over. Elena's heart sank, but Sasha's arms around her were a reminder. They'd face whatever came next, together. The final letter, this isn't over, cast a shadow over Elena's victory. She and Sasha sat in her living room, the court's ruling fresh but the threat unresolved. Lucas slept down the hall, safe for now, but Elena's heart raced. Who was still out there, watching? Sasha called the investigator, who traced the latest letter to a post office box linked to Equal Horizons. They're a front, the investigator said, funded by wealthy donors who manipulate high-profile cases for influence. Clara's name came up again, but no hard evidence tied her to the threats. Elena felt torn. Clara's $250,000 had saved her case, but her connection to Equal Horizons raised questions. We need answers, Elena said, her voice firm. Sasha nodded. We'll get them, but first we protect you and Lucas. They moved Lucas to a new school with enhanced security, funded by the defamation award. Elena hated appending his life, but his safety came first. He adapted, his resilience a mirror of her own. At night, she and Sasha read to him, their voices blending in a warmth that felt like family. Sasha dug into Equal Horizons, uncovering a donor list that included tech moguls and political operatives. One name stood out, Rebecca Tate, Marcus's sister and a silent partner in Unity Rising. Rebecca had the means and motive to orchestrate the threats, using Greg as a pawn to advance her agenda against divisive figures like Elena. They confronted Rebecca at her downtown office, a sleek space with views of Puget Sound. She was polished, unyielding, denying everything. But Sasha's evidence, Victor's testimony, the post office box, phone records, cornered her. You wanted to control the narrative, Sasha said. But you failed. Rebecca's facade cracked. You're tearing families apart, she spat. People like you don't belong in our schools. Elena stepped forward, her voice steady. I'm a mother. My son belongs with me, and I belong wherever I choose to be. Rebecca said nothing, but her silence was an admission. Sasha filed charges, and the police arrested Rebecca and Victor for criminal intimidation. Greg, shamed and broke from the lawsuit, agreed to supervised visitation with Lucas, his influence shattered. Elena and Sasha returned to the Brood Awakening, where their story began. The chalkboard still read, "Love writes its own story. Will you read theirs?" They laughed, their hands entwined, the weight of the fight lifting. Clara sent a final letter, no money this time, just words. You've inspired more than you know. Elena chose to believe her, letting go of doubt. The $250,000 had been a spark, but her strength and Sasha's had won the war. Months later, Elena and Sasha moved in together, their home a haven of art, laughter, and Lucas's toys. The threats stopped, the letters a memory. Elena designed a mural for the coffee shop, a vibrant celebration of love in all its forms. Sasha framed their story as a case study, teaching others to fight for their truth. As they stood under the mural's unveiling, Lucas between them, Elena felt whole. Her sexuality, once a weapon used against her, was now her power. She kissed Sasha under the fairy lights, the crowd cheering, and knew this was the ending they'd fought for, the one they'd earned.